Hello BookTube. It's Saturday and I'm doing a tag. This is a bit odd. Well, it's because I've been tagged in a couple of lovely ones in the last few days, and I thought, yeah, let's get stuck in with one. And this one, the Anti-TBR Tag, is kind of romping around at the moment, so I'll do it while it's fresh. And it was originally by Nicole and her books, but I was tagged by Steve Donahue. So, question number 1. A popular book everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. Okay, so the book I'm going to choose for this is I'll see if I can get this title right, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse by Charlie McKeesy. And it's been around for about a year, but it's still on the sort of bestseller lists at the moment. And it just sounds to me like it's going to be really twee. And so that, yeah, doesn't interest me at all. Not into twee, really. Question number 2, a classic book or author that you don't have any interest in reading. Okay, well, I'm going to say right out here that I do not intend to read anything else by D.H. Lawrence ever in my life. Okay? Do you want to know why? No, you don't need to know why, do you? I just had enough of him. Yeah. Pretentious, over full of himself. I mean, he's written some probably really, people will tell me he's written some terribly important and wonderful books, and I have read a couple, but yeah, it's a manny man that writes terrible books about women. Yeah. Question number 3, an author whose books you have no interest in reading. But not a classic one, yeah? Well, there's loads of things I've no interest in reading. I mean, I'm a very omnivorous reader. I like reading lots of different things, but there's still whole swathes that I'm not interested in. And I think what I would define, I'm least interested, I suppose, in authors that I would define as conveyor belt authors. I'm sure you know what I mean. It's people like Lee Childs, or I don't know, Danielle Steele, or you get them in all sorts of different genres, but basically they just sort of churn them out every year, and they have a really important niche that they fill, and they're important to a whole group of readers, because what they do is they write books, and Steve said something similar actually in his version of this tag. They write books that are reassuringly predictable. So if you're a reader where you want to just know what you're going to get and that you're going to enjoy it, you can buy their book each year and you know what you're going to get and that you'll enjoy it. But I'm not really interested in predictable. I'm interested in unpredictable. And the authors that I will read and many books by, it's because they don't always write the same book, if that makes sense. Yeah, of course it does. Question 3.2 is a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. Now, the first thing to say here is that bad people can write good books. Bad artists, bad people can be brilliant artists. They can be genius. So that's not really the issue here for me. But one author that I have absolutely no interest in reading is Ayn Rand, and that's because she is problematic for me in the sense that her books have been used to give an entirely kind of spurious intellectual respectability to very sort of unpleasant far right or libertarian sort of political views. Yeah, so if anyone tells you that Atlas Shrugged is their favourite book ever, don't trust them. Okay. For all I know, the book might be quite good, but don't need to go there. Question number 4, an author you've read a couple of books from and decided is not for you. Well, there's a fair few of those, I have to say, but I will pick one, and that's Jonathan Franzen. I really liked one of his books, and then the corrections, yeah, quite enjoyed that. And then the second book I read, I thought, and then no more. A genre you have no interest in, or a genre you've tried to get into and couldn't. Okay, now I'm not entirely sure what this genre is called, but if I give you a few titles, you'll know what I mean. I belong to a kind of Facebook-based book challenge group. Yeah, it's a nice thing. But there's one person who posts in our Facebook group every single book she reads, and these are some of her recent titles. Okay. Orphans of Halfpenny Street, Rag and Bone Christmas, A Daughter's Ruin, A Gift for the District Nurses. Now, what is the genre? I think it's like a subgenre of women's fiction or something. The gritty saga. Yeah, I have absolutely zero interest in reading any gritty saga book, but they have their place. This person who posts in my Facebook book challenge group loves them. They make her deeply happy, and she reads loads of them, and so, you know, that's fine, but not for me. Now, a book you bought but will never read. Now, I don't tend to buy books that I'm never going to read. That is a bit odd thing to do, isn't it? Yeah, I don't really understand it. But then I thought that there is a book that I read that I bought just a couple of days ago, which I'm never going to read, I'm pretty confident, and that's Brandon Sanderson's Rhythms of War, which is the latest Brandon Sanderson fantasy epic. And that is because poor old Alfred, who you will know because he sometimes appears on this channel, pre-ordered that book from the Evil Empire, Amazon, and they let him down. And like, he was really looking forward to this book, and like kind of 2 days before it came out, his pre-order that he put in months ago, they said, oh, we don't think we can fulfill it. We don't know when we're going to be able to send you this book. And he was so furious, he rightly cancelled his order. And because I'm a soft-hearted mother, I bought it for him on Kindle so that he could read it the moment that it was available, which made him happy. But he has promised in return, because that was still from, you know, that was like rewarding the Evil Empire for failing by then buying it from them anyway as an ebook. So he's promised to buy a paper copy to keep and cherish from a local independent bookshop. So, question number 7. A series you have no interest in reading, or a series you started and have DNF'd. Now, I have to end up having a problem with series, and it's not the problem of the series, it's a problem of me, my brain, and my bad habits. I am a bit of a flippity-gibbet when it comes to reading. You know, I'm always kind of like reading new authors, or, you know, and I don't tend to have perhaps the sort of patience and persistence, or the wish really, to read a long series. Like it's that feeling of but there's a new book out there and something different, not in the same. It's a bit like not wanting to read books that are predictable. So even a really good series, it potentially becomes predictable. I don't know. It's not that I never read a series, and there's series, I mean, it's more, I suppose. What I would say is there's actually series of books that I've started that I genuinely want to read the rest of, and just haven't managed to do that yet because I always prioritise something else. Let's think of some examples. I've said before I really want to read all of the Ambassador Chronicles by Anthony Trollope, and I've only read 2, and there's, I don't know, another 4 to go or something, and I no idea why I haven't read the rest of those. Another would be Amitav Ghosh. I read Sea of Poppies by him and absolutely loved it. And when the next one came out, I even bought it. And it's a trilogy, the Ibis trilogy, and I can't believe that I haven't read all 3. I will eventually. Another one would be Sigrid Undset's trilogy, Kristin Lavransdatter. Like a bit ago, I read the first part of that trilogy and was really looking forward to the other two, and yet I haven't read it. So you can kind of shame me into actually knuckling down and finishing those series. Question number 8, a new release that you have no interest in reading. Now, there's loads of new releases I've got no interest in reading. It's kind of not particularly my thing, new releases, I suppose. But there's also lots that I am interested in reading. So I was trying to think, there's no point in me saying, well, I'm not looking forward to reading the next Lee Childs or whatever. It's sort of irrelevant, isn't it? So I thought I would try and pick something that was perhaps more surprising, and I'm almost more surprised for myself that I'm not interested in reading it. And that's Barack Obama's new release, A Promised Land. And, I read Dreams from My Father, and I did find it quite inspiring. But for some reason, I just doesn't speak to me, the thought of reading a book about while he was in office. I'm not entirely sure why, and again, you can try and persuade me perhaps that I'm wrong, but yeah, doesn't call me. Tagging people. Okay, so I'm going to tag 2 booktubers who have recently done their first original tag. One is Emily of Novell Novels, and I just did her self-aware reader tag, and the other is other way around. I'm just about to do her tag, her friend's tag. The other one is Courtney Ferriter, whose self-aware reader tag I just recently did. So 2 booktubers with sort of newish original tags to do if you haven't already. I'm going to tag Alan of Big Hard Books and Classics because I know he likes a good tag and he'll have fun with this one. And then I was thinking, I want to hear some nice ranty versions of this tag. And I thought, who might offer me a nice ranty version, or a version that would be quite different from mine? And I thought of 2 people, well, 2 channels, 3 people. Scott and Nell of Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, and Sean the Book Maniac. So please me with a rant, will you? And happy Saturday, everybody.